Hello everyone, welcome to the Cycle Frontier in Depth. Today we're going to be going over the S-576 PDW. This has a K-Marks price of 1,200. It's very cheap. It has a penetration value of 10, a direct damage value of 9, and a reload time of 3.05 seconds, with a max size of 20, and a movement speed multiplier of 1, meaning you move at 100% of your movement speed while you have this weapon out and equipped. You may have noticed this whenever you pull out a sniper rifle or assault rifle and you feel like you're moving slower. It's because you are. Typically, the heavier the weapon, the slower you move. So, SMGs, shotguns, and pistols are going to allow you to move the fastest. This has a range of up to 50 meters. However, you do not want to be at that max range of 50 meters. Where you want to be is in between 0 meters and 20 meters, because at 20 meters is where your damage begins to fall off. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the easy way to explain this is that at 20 meters and beyond, your damage, your 9 damage, will begin to start going down. For example, at 50 meters, which is your max, you will be at 70% of that 9 damage, which is 6.3 damage. Meaning that you will be dealing 6.3 damage to people you hit at 50 meters, and that is before armor calculation reduces that even further. So, like I said, try to be between 0 and 20 meters. This is an SMG, not an assault rifle, try not to use it like one. Something unique that I wanted to mention in the Cycle Frontier that is different than most other first-person shooters I've seen, where you have a headshot multiplier is usually 1.1 times or 1.2 times. In this one, your headshot multiplier for the PDW and also in correlation to the KM9 Scrapper is a 1.5 times multiplier. So that means you would be dealing 1.5 times your damage, which means you're going to be dealing 13.5 damage to the head on people in common armor. On people in uncommon armor, you'll be dealing 11.4. And in people in rare, you'll be dealing 10.1. Moving on more into the stats of the PDW, it has an RPM of 857 rounds per minute, or 14.29 rounds a second. It's very high. I think it's one of the highest in the game. Your average DPS against someone in common armor is going to be about 129 per second, and your time to empty the mag is 1.33 seconds. You can fully empty this mag very quickly. So you'll be reloading very often, and that'll come into play in the recommended build I have for you all. Moving on to shots to kill, so someone in common armor will take you about 12 shots to kill, assuming that you don't get any headshots. If you are somehow a god and you get all headshots, it will take you 8 shots to kill. So with that unique headshot multiplier, I highly recommend getting some headshots in there if you can, or maybe whenever you're hip firing. On uncommon armor, shots to the body will take you 14, for headshots it will take you 9. For rare, it will take you 15 shots to the body, and for headshots it will take you 10 shots to the head. And for the epic and exotic shields, it takes 1 more shot for each of them respectively. So for epic, it will take you 16, and exotic, it will take you 17. And when it comes to headshots for both of those armors, it will take you 11 shots to the head for both epic and exotic shields. Comparing the time to kill to the KM9 Scrapper, the KM9 Scrapper does beat it out barely on paper, but it's not enough of a difference to where you cannot win gunfights with the PDW. So do not get discouraged, the PDW is still an amazing weapon and you can still kill players with it, even in the better armors. And this is before we're even going over the converters, which increase your penetration. Speaking of which, looking at the numbers, anything higher than common, you are going to want at least an uncommon converter. Whenever you get to rare, you're going to want an epic converter at least to deal with rare shields. You don't need the epic converter against rare shields, but it does reduce the bullets to kill by 1. Something unique looking at the data here, on epic shield, a converter does not make a difference in terms of shots to kill. It's still going to take you 16 shots to kill. However, on exotic shields, having anything higher than rare will reduce your shots to kill by 1. When you put this all together, what does it mean? Well, it means that the PDW is not as bad as everybody gives it credit for. It shreds, it has a high fire rate, and it has a decent mag capacity. And with attachments, you can make this thing even better, which leads me into my recommended build. There's no attachments to reduce hipfire spread or anything like that. I would not recommend anything higher than a 2x scope, but my pick is the holographic sight or the red dot sight. Whenever it comes to magazine, if you have the ability, I would go for the light extended quick draw mag, which gives you increase your magazine capacity and your reload speed. And then I would move over to the stock. I would actually equip the ultralight stock. For the muzzle, you can pick your favorite. However, I would recommend the suppressor because this thing doesn't have a lot of recoil, but this is the slot where I would reduce the recoil if it's bothering you. With the rear grip, to pick your favorite, whatever you want to put on there. With the foregrip, again, pick your favorite. However, I'm going to choose to reduce the recoil. And with the ammo converter, we were focusing on PvP. However, if you need creature damage, you can swap on creature damage, but slap on the highest converter you can afford. I would recommend a minimum of uncommon. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of In Depth on the PDW. If you guys wouldn't mind, consider hitting the like button and subscribing for more cycle content. And check out the video on screen where I have an overview and recommendations for upgrading your quarters.